Hi, it's a quick lesson on tritone substitution, which all that means is when you're using dominant chords, if I'm using a G altered chord, let's use this in the context of a blues, and let's say my one chord is a G7, and if I make this G7 an altered chord, an altered dominant 7, let's say by sharpening the 5, so there's the 5 there, 1, 3, 5, and we got the 5 an octave up, and the reason 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we don't call it a 12, we still call it a 5, is because it's a major chord tone. I mean, it's a fundamental chord tone rather. So you've got the 1, 3, 5, flat 7, those are giving you the dominant chord, the dominant 7 chord. And so we talk about it, even if it's up here, we talk about it as the 5th of the chord, just as we do when it's down here. Anyway, in altered chords, the 5th often gets altered. It gets either flattened or sharpened. So that was a flat 5, and this is a sharp 5. And the 3rd also gets altered. But in this case, we're thinking of the 5th. And if I do this altered dominant rather than just a straightforward dominant, then I've got this. I've got a 3rd fret on the low E string, giving me the root, G. Let's say we're in G, and this is our 1 chord. And then I've got 3rd fret on the D string, giving us the flat 7, the F. And on the G string I've got the 4th fret, giving us B, which is the major 3rd. And then normally, if it was just a straightforward dominant 7, on the B string, 3rd fret would give you the D, which is the 5th. But if we take it up, that gives you a sharp 5. And then if you look at these 3 notes, well, they're the 3 notes of, if I put the root here, then I've got a C sharp 9 chord. Now why would I put the root here? Well, that's the whole tritone substitution thing. Here's my G, the root of my 1st chord, my 1 chord, and then 3 tones up, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I can use that, that's the tritone, that's where the tritone substitution comes in. I can use this C sharp, dominant 7 or dominant 9, whatever. You can just use a straightforward dominant 7, or you can use an extended dominant chord. The point is that you can use this C sharp dominant chord as a substitute for this G7 dominant chord. And the reason I did this altered dominant chord is because it shows you more clearly how similar these chords are. The only difference between this G altered dominant, or G sharp 5, and this C sharp 9 chord is either having the root there as a G, or the root here as a C sharp. So these 3 notes stay the same. In a G altered dominant, or sharp 5, these 3 notes are the flat 7, the major 3rd, and the sharp 5. When this becomes, or when it's played as a C sharp 9 chord, these notes become the major 3rd, flat 7, so the major 3rd and the flat 7 change positions for this chord, the G7 and the C sharp 7. And this, which is the sharp 5 for the G altered chord, or G sharp 5 chord, becomes the 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the C sharp 7 chord. So the thing is, they're almost the same chord, and that's why you can substitute this dominant 7 for this dominant 7, or basically a C sharp dominant 7 for a G7. And they're a tritone apart, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 tones apart. That's 3 tones apart, and you can substitute them because they're almost the same chord, they've just got a different root. And if you do substitute them, what you get is the dominant chord, in blues at least, you get the dominant chord a semitone up from the 4 chord that you're going to. And you probably do that already. You probably use as one way of getting to your 4 chord, 1 chord. You probably use a dominant chord, or have done, a dominant chord a semitone up from the dominant chord you're going to. You can also go a semitone down. Yeah, it works either side of a dominant chord. Semitone up, or a semitone below, semitone above or a semitone below. But you can see the theory of why it works a semitone above from this tritone substitution, because the dominant chord a semitone above is almost the same chord as your 1 chord. As your dominant 7/1 chord, or dominant 1 chord I should say, because it could be any dominant chord. It could be an extended dominant chord like a G13 and then G#5 and then to C9, or it could just be a straightforward G7. Okay, I hope that helps.